Welcome to the Wealth Renegade podcast. I'm your host, Robby Butler. Have you celebrated your financial independence today? Joel, it is going to be such a great conversation with you. So I am so looking forward to getting into this subject, which has so much nuance. In retirement accounts, you've been involved in so many aspects of this, and you understand so much. Could you give us just the 30-second version on how you came to understand this space so well?
For sure. Yeah. Thank you, Robbie. I come from a banking background and I've spent several years in that industry, getting to know several different types of industries. Based on the conversations with the clients that I had, one of our clients was actually EQRP. And I got to know really well what type of business they participated in. I got to know the founder, Damien Lupo, really well. And when I understood what it was that they were doing and how they were helping people get control of their retirement and kind of break away from the institutional system, it was very motivating for me. And so when I learned about this, I knew I wanted to be a part of the mission, and it's been awesome.
So cool. So we've got three main subjects we want to cover. And so that people can follow us closely, we're sharing a plot that we've made recording, as you can see on the top row, the top main retirement accounts available, the ones that are familiar to most folks in the industry. So let's talk about UBIT first.
Sure.
The row on the top describes UBIT and its impact along the different types of retirement accounts. So tell us more.
I
What's the
would.
background on UBIT?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad we're bringing this up, Robbie, because it is actually a hot topic. When you look at that variety of qualified retirement plans, those are really popular in my industry. We've got the self-directed IRA, the self-directed or solo 401k. We have traditional IRAs that are not really self-directed at all, but still custodied by a trust company. We have the institutional 401k that most of us that come or are still participating in the traditional W-2 world, we participate in a company sponsored 401k. But then you've also got the EQRP plan that has essentially been developed by Damien Lupo. He calls it the Ferrari of retirement plans. So they all, in some way, shape, or form, they're all tax exempt entities, but they're all subject or at least tied to an acronym called UBIT. And most people that either use a self-directed plan or provide a self-directed plan are familiar with that term. UBIT stands for Unrelated Business Income Tax. So it's essentially a tax that some of these organizations, if not all, are potentially subject to. And I think, Robbie, where it's really synonymous, this acronym UBIT, it's synonymous with us, is it's synonymous because of the UDFI. Now, UDFI stands for Unrelated Debt Financed Income. So in simple terms, this is essentially that income that is generated from debt financed real estate. The reason we like to talk about this and the reason it comes up often with EQRP and its clients is because our plans are designed and they follow Section 401 of the IRS code. It is a tax exempt entity or organization, but anytime our plans that follow Section 401 are investing in debt financed real estate, which can trigger UDFI, it is not subject to the unrelated business income tax. So what does that mean for an EQRP member or somebody that's using an EQRP plan? Because it follows a particular section, and if it invests in debt finance real estate, which is such a common part of someone's investment portfolio, those capital gains aren't subject to a tax. And a lot of people ask, well, what does that tax look like? And it varies, but they can anticipate a corporate rate on those capital gains. So a lot of people who typically invest through an IRA, you've got the self-directed IRA and you put in, yes, it's subject in that column. Makes perfect sense. In fact, we have a lot of members who come to us, they're referred to us by either other EQRP clients or friends and family. They're investing with their self-directed IRA in debt financed real estate. Super common. It's about to sell. It's going to trigger UDFI, which means it's going to trigger UBIT. They call us up and they say, "Hey, Joel, how can I get my asset before it sells into an EQRP plan? Because I know it follows section 401 and it will not be subject to that tax." Cool. Let's go ahead and move that asset in kind into our plan. And ultimately, the investment sells and those capital gains are not subject to the UBIT. So hopefully that kind of details a little bit more about what is it, why are some of these plans tied to it? Why is the EQRP plan not tied to it? When we're talking about UDFI or unrelated debt finance income.
So perhaps a good lead into the chart is taxable income present? And the answer would be yes in some cases and no in others. And so as people sample their various retirement accounts and their extra opportunities in alternative assets, you've given a great landscape and so clear.
Oh,
So there are other features of retirement accounts that some have available and some don't. Can you tell us a little about some of the other areas that people can access with their retirement accounts?
yes. I want to highlight two with you, but I'd like to start with the first one and kind of talk a little bit in detail. The first is tied to the personal loan. Now, a lot of people, they break away from the institutional systems like the 401k to move into a self-directed 401k because they want more liberty. They want more opportunity that they know is available to them per the IRS tax code. And another thing they like to do is they like to break away from the institutional banking system, a place where I come from. And the EQRP plan, again, considering it follows section 408, 401 of the IRS code, our members are eligible to borrow from their qualified retirement funds. And that just means, okay, cool. I don't have to go or depend so much on the institutional banking system to borrow from. I don't have to follow their rates. I don't have to follow their terms necessarily. And more importantly, I don't have to see if I qualify based on their risk tolerances. They could essentially, as a member, come to us and say, "Hey, I have a borrowing need. I'd like to finance one of my kids' college tuition for the next 2 years." Or, "Hey, I had my car break down. I'm ready to actually buy a new car." Great. Let's go ahead and take a look at how much you're actually eligible to borrow with your plan. And there are some guidelines by the IRS. They do let you borrow up to $50,000 or 50% of your plan value. Now, whichever is the lesser, that's the amount that you can pull from your plan. And then, of course, we help you set the terms. We help you essentially build that promissory note, just like a bank would build for you if you were going to go borrow from them. But you don't have to go through a qualification. You don't have to wait for underwriting to get back to you. If you need that, you can write that plan uh, loan, essentially that document same day and get the funds to yourself same day. And so a ton of flexibility. The beauty, Robbie, is got all of that taken care of. They're now paying monthly installments or even quarterly installments back to their plan, plus the interest that they decided to write in. And that just means, not just that principal amount they pulled is going back into the plan, but now they're actually putting interest back into the plan as well. So great feature. A lot of our members absolutely love that.
And I know from personal experience that EQRP is your company specifically is willing to structure the prom note, the payback schedule, to set up the arrangement, which is such a value add to customers. So that's very cool to hear.
For sure. Sorry about that, Robbie. And one thing that I always like to highlight is yes, we are white glove service. We love to go above and beyond to take care of those things that our members really don't have the time to take care of. So we'll write out that promissory note. We'll have them review it, make sure that we're all on the same page, but they don't have to stress about finding that from from an approved source or online somewhere.
So we'll return to the chart in a moment, but you've also described to me the contribution feature of EQRPs as it relates to their retirement accounts. So if someone is looking to defer income and and has an EQRP as a strategy to do so. Tell us a little bit more about that.
For sure. Yeah. So our plans are, probably, like I said, going back to Damian Lupo's analogy, he likes to refer to our plans as the Ferrari because you can get everything. You can really max out the potential with our plans and because of the code that they follow in the IRS tax code. So I want to go over a couple of highlights with you. So every single year, these amounts do change, meaning the amount that an individual can actually contribute to these plans. I want to highlight 2024. And again, could be subject to change in 2025, but right now, if you were a self-employed or a small business owner, as a self-employed individual, you can contribute up to $24,000 of your own personal income that you declare. And that could be a phenomenal tax advantage if you wanted to defer the $24,000 from your adjusted gross income. Or if you actually wanted to make those contributions as after-tax or Roth contributions, now you're setting yourself up for potential tax-free gains with the amount that you're making as contributions. Let's go a step further. If you're 50 years old or older and you still are claiming active income as a self-employed individual, you can contribute up to $30,500. So significant amounts when you compare it to something like an IRA, which only allows you to contribute on an annual basis in your IRA, $7,000 or $8,000 if you're 50 or over. So let's go even a step further, and that is tied to the profit sharing portion of your business. So you're making contributions as a participant. You also want to max out the total allowed amount, which is $69,000. You can now take that difference as net income from your business and make a profit sharing contribution. Obviously, stars have to align. The business has to declare so much in net income. A percentage of that is contributed as a profit sharing contribution. So much bigger maximums. Even when you compare it to something like a SEP IRA, as a small business owner, you're eligible to participate in a SEP. There's a lot of nuances there. You can't make contributions like you can as say our EQRP plan, participant plus business contributions. And there's also some differences with if you were to contribute to a SEP IRA as a small business owner up to a specific percentage, you'd have to contribute the same percentage for your employees. So some really, I would say, funky nuances, if you will, but that's the beauty of our plan versus, say, the IRA, the SEP IRA. You're making significant contributions that are either a great opportunity for you to defer tax if it makes sense that year, or if you were looking to make a combination or just purely Roth contributions. Now you're looking at that tax-free potential in the future.
That's remarkable. So in all these instances, e everyone's goals for their retirement can be a little different, but from what you're describing, the maximum flexibility exists when you have a plan that is prepared to accept both the inflows and outflows as either your strategy changes or as you implement it with greater and greater purpose as you're marching along in life. So let's look at the chart for a moment. The Our EQRP column on the far right, what is the status when someone is in the arrangement where UBIT may be existent, but they are using it in a non-leveraged circumstance? What's this last box's
Yeah,
input?
great question, because the last thing that I want is for anybody who's interested, or even a member of ours who's interested in investing with the EQRP money. I don't want anybody to walk away thinking my plan is never subject to UBIT, because that's false.
Yeah.
There are some instances where an EQRP plan can be subject, or I should say the capital gains can be subject to the UBIT tax. And an ideal example, you've actually got it written down there, active income. If you were to take your EQRP money, let's say you and I wanted to go be limited partners with our EQRP money in a manufacturing company, and that manufacturing company is cash flowing today, and we're funding an expansion of their business, and they are generating active income. those gains that we're taking on as the limited partner in that investment will be subject to UBIT. So I always like to make that differential. And I'm glad that you brought that up because, again, in some instances, we can be subject to UBIT, but in the most popular, which again is real estate, debt finance real estate, that's where we shine.
Yep. And the folks who are hoping to move their accounts from, let's call them traditional Wall Street structures or typical Wall Street structures into more alternative assets, real estate, businesses, that is where this conversation has to be had. Because if they say, oh, retirement account, alternative asset, without understanding the landscape, tragic things can occur. All of your gain can be wiped out by a significant tax bill at the end. I'm sure you've seen it happen. I know I have. So this is fantastic information. We will figure out how to share this chart out as we've now completed it in full and in all cases. Joel, where can people go to you to find more and learn more? How can they reach out?
Yeah, I think the best way to get connected with us if you're really curious and you want to learn more and then eventually get connected is just by visiting our website, EQRP.com. You are more than welcome to email me if you would like directly. If you want to kind of, skip all of that and just get in touch with me one-on-one, you can email me at Joel, Joel, at EQRP.com.
Fantastic. Well, in all of this, there is so much to learn, but you have managed to make it extremely simple. So thank you so much for your insight. And for the listeners, feel free to reach out to Joel and ask your retirement account questions, whether you want to set one up or whether you have dozens of them and are looking for ways to expand your strategy. Be sure to reach out to him.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Joel.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it, Robbie.